mindset that we need to get the right answer and that it needs to be concrete and perfect. I mean, we even see this idea with like getting A's, getting things like that. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's just so stressful.
Yeah.
And I think that when it comes to learning in general, people often forget like the process of learning and they just focus on like the result of learning. So again, we're forgetting, why are we even learning this information? And I believe that learning is just as important, if not more important, than the result of what you're getting out of it. And also, I think that we need to remember that learning is always going to be a learning process.
Yeah.
We're still so young, but there's so much more for us to learn. And I'm going to quote Yoda from Star Wars here, guys. But Yoda said that to be wise is always realizing that there's more to learn. So I think that's something that we need to remember. Do you want to add on to this, Kiara?
Yeah, I think Yoda's the GOAT. Let's
Yoda
just say
is the
that.
goat. True.
But anyways, what you're saying with that, I think there's such a lost art in what you're saying, the process, the art
Yeah.
of doing. And I feel like it's so lost nowadays is because we focus on the end product. We always
Yeah.
focus about the award or result or achievement we're going to get at the end. If it's with sports and you're wanting to play competitively, it's the idea, oh, maybe you can be an Olympian and get a gold medal for team wherever country you're from. And with art, it's like you can show it up in a gallery, get a bunch of awards for it, be known as a great artist. When
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be like that. I feel like just the art of doing something to do it is so lost nowadays with this idea of perfectionism,
Yes.
because we want to do something and it's like we only want to do it for the end result, and it makes us
Yeah.
not even want to try it at the end. And
Exactly.
I wanted to talk about how, like, just the idea of perfectionism, it isn't an inherently bad idea. I feel like people should hold themselves to a higher standard
Yeah.
and should want
Completely.
to learn how to grow, like, as
Yes.
a person instead of just
Yeah.
staying where they are. I think it's just bad when it's like it gets very obsessive. What do you think
Yeah.
about that, Andrea?
I think so too. Perfectionism isn't something that's inherently bad. Like you said, it allows us to hold ourselves to a higher standard, allows us to achieve great, bigger things. But when it starts to control us, control our every thought, our behaviors, that's when it starts to get really harmful to us. Recognizing these behaviors and shifting them to something that's more positive is vital to not only your mental health, but your physical well being as well, because they're so interconnected with each other. A good way to do this is through affirmations. For instance, your mindset might be, oh, I'm not doing enough. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need to get this grade. I need to get this award. Instead of having that type of mindset, let's shift it into something else, like saying, oh, whatever I'm doing in this moment is enough, and that is okay. But
Yeah.
yeah. So
Love it.
love it.
Hey.
But how are some examples of how you guys like to step away from perfectionism?
Well, okay, sorry, I just want to add on to this.
Oh no, you're fine.
But in high school, in my counseling class, we actually talked a lot about like growth mindsets versus fixed mindsets. And it made me think of like what you were saying, is that we should hold ourselves to this higher standard.
Yeah.
But it's when it becomes a fixed mindset to where like we're not willing to like change and we want to like stay at like the highest standard.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, our best is not always going to be the best, like you were saying, but that's okay. And the real truth to perfectionism is that it's truly just acceptance. And that's like a hard thing to fathom and to navigate, but that is the truth. And yeah, I'm going to go into a way that I like to go outside and cope with this, which is hiking. I know Kiara likes to boulder, but I love to be outside. I love doing yoga. There are many options, even if you don't like want to be that active. But if you're just outside, even just things like walking and being in nature, you're realizing your surroundings, you're realizing that nature in itself is not perfect. And that's the beautiful thing, because it's all organic. We're all connected to nature in a way that's beautiful, and not everything is perfect, but we're all community and united. And I just love that. And another thing I would like to say is that Lao Tzu once said that nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished, which is something that I truly believe, because nature doesn't hurry. Like, nature takes its time regardless of the consequences, regardless of like what's going to be happening. So like we should be doing that too. Like, it's okay to not hurry. It's okay to take time for yourself and take time for the things that you love and the things that you care about.
Exactly.
That dude has some bars. Anyway, Another way, basically, that I love to go outside. She mentioned my love of bouldering. I just honestly love bouldering, and I also love getting into new hobbies, like starting something completely new, whether that would be ceramics, a new sport, just going to a new place. I love new hobbies and stepping into
Mhm.
something new because I think a lot of people forget, and reasons why they don't go into new hobbies is because they're expecting it to be perfect right away. They're expecting to just get
Yeah.
it. They're expecting, oh, this is going to turn out the way I want to. But the whole point of learning and starting something new is that you don't learn it right away. You are in the process of learning. You are in the process of doing. And you, in trying to step away from the idea of perfectionism, you can see yourself in these hobbies just doing it, whether it be with a
Yeah.
friend, by yourself. Just learning how to love doing it is so important. Andrea, what about you?
Oh, for me, I love. For me, I just love drawing traditionally. That's what really helps calm me down, especially from my perfectionist thoughts, because I do struggle with that honestly.
Mhm.
But drawing traditionally, mainly just sketching people, it helps me take things step by step, really slow things down, think things through. And I also really love also going out into nature. Sometimes I just have a little picnic. I might sit down with my sketchbook and I'll draw the landscapes around me. It's really nice. It's really calming. It's definitely very fun. It helps me think things through,
Sounds
take things
fun.
slow. But yeah.
Beautiful. Raz, would you
Yay.
like to add on?
Well, I really like what you said is taking things slow
Yeah.
and doing
Mhm.
things with purpose. I've lately really been enjoying just laying in the grass under some trees.
So
and,
grounding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So peaceful.
Looking at the sunlight filter through and just that, like what you said earlier, the imperfection in nature. And
Yeah.
it's just beautiful.
Love it.
I love
Yeah.
it. Well, I have loved this entire podcast, but
Yes.
I think that we should get into some key takeaways. So, what did you guys take away from this podcast episode? And I also want to know what our viewers think,
Oh, yes.
and maybe some ways we can help with this.
I think honestly the main takeaway that I thought is like we talked a lot about hanging out with friends, hanging out with family,
Yeah.
and I think honestly with these perfectionist thoughts, it's so easy to get in your own head. It's so easy to just
Yeah.
hold yourself to a higher standard in your mind. And I feel like expressing these emotions, like talking to someone, of whether it be a friend, a family, or even a therapist, I feel like
Mhm.
is so important because it's like
Yes.
everybody needs to realize that this is a standard that's in their head. Yes, you can hold yourself to a higher standard, but when it becomes impossible, you can talk about these standards with people. You can talk to other people and say, is this normal to hold myself to a standard? And if they're saying no, you might be struggling with this. So, anyways, what about you guys?
Yeah, I think definitely finding help if you need it is very, very important in recognizing when you do need help. But basically, I think one of my main key takeaways from this is surrounding yourself with things that make you happy, like engaging in your favorite hobbies, pastimes, hanging out with your loved ones, and taking time for yourself is like very, very important, especially if you're learning to manage with your perfectionist tendencies. As a whole, it just helps to lessen those
Mhm.
like worries and stuff. But yeah, anything else you guys like to add?
One thing that I was a key takeaway for me is that something we should all work on is trying to avoid tying our self-image to our achievements.
Love it.
We should, what we put out does not define who we are on the inside.
Mhm.
And
Exactly.
you're
And our
always
actions.
worth something.
Exactly.
And
Beautiful.
yeah, I also think that it's important not to be caught up in other people's expectations. We need to figure out our own and set them at a staple rate too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I think that one thing that really helps me is like writing down these perfectionist thoughts because I
Yeah.
think that when you like look at the evidence of that thought, you're thinking about like, okay, what is the reality? And I think that by writing it down, it kind of like actualizes the thought in a way that's like, it can be very helpful because you can realize like, yeah, maybe like I'm struggling with this, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. Is there anything else that the. Oh, no.
No?
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
anyways, this is a really nice chat. I love this, everyone.
yes, I loved it so
Mhm.
much. Well, this was My Good Mind. Tune in for the next episode.
Exactly.
Yes,
Bye,
goodbye.
everyone.